Hey guys, it's me again. I've been labbing the new support. I got a little sick yesterday though, so I haven't been labbing as much as I'd like. Hopefully my voice sounds fine. If I do sound a little bit funny, that is why. Yeah. Anyways, let's get right into it. So, as you can see here, you've got my, basically, this is an old version of the list I had for Exosisters, right? This is an Exosister Eldritch list. Here's an old pure list that I had, and here's the new list. I've got two test hands that I'll be showing off in a minute. Yeah. I just want to talk about this first, right? First of all, Malpha. I have to use custom cards because there's no other ways to do it in DB, unfortunately. So I won't be putting the deck link in the description. You can see it up here in the top left, or the deck ID. If you do really want it, you could also just copy it. No deck link in the description though. So big things that have changed. First of all, Malpha kind of cuts off any ways that we're gonna play with some sort of secondary engine, right? You have to control only Xyz monsters, and you cannot special summon except Exosisters. So this hurts like a DPE package, like I'm playing here, because you can't take full advantage of the recursion of DPE and the ability of Malpha to special summon itself. So you're losing out a bit there. The other thing is that you can't special summon things like the Jigabyte, the Inari Fire, the Rain Ryu, which is fine. These cards are dog shit anyways. Like these cards were the best ways to trigger the Exosisters, like Dinotherium, Jigabyte, and Rain Ryu, and they're good for generating advantage, especially in sort of crowded game states, right? The Jigabyte Rain Ryu loop is really good, but it's not great, and I'll take Malpha any day of the week, You'll also notice I've cut the Utopic Draco Future package. It's just not worth it, because now I'm obviously making this list. Malpha will come out after Magnifica, so we'll have Magnifica. So yeah, there's no reason to play Utopic Draco Future once Malpha comes out, because Magnifica is just better in most scenarios, right? Because you're not going to be able to special summon the Draco Future, except for on your turn 2 or 3. Even though DP is bad, there might be a consideration for it. I just don't think it's worth it. Maybe there's a different build that plays fewer Malpha that's worth it. I don't know. It might be good as a follow-up if you've gone through a Malpha already. Yeah. Other than that, you can see that I cut the D-shifters out of the main and I only have the Retaliating Seas on the side. You could still probably play D-shifter in the main. The only thing that really hurts is the Nadir Servant package, which you just couldn't activate Nadir Servant this turn, which is whatever. It's the likelihood that you'll draw this and a D-shifter is pretty low. I'd probably cut it for the Imperms, the Ash, or the Judgment. I have Retaliating Sea on the side just because I prefer it side decked, but it's definitely definitely a worthwhile consideration. Plus, I'm not a fan of D-shifter if you're going to be playing first, so Also, the go first combo requires you to have Ellis in graveyard for the Stella special. I'll show that off in the replays though. Yeah. Other than that, deck is still pretty similar. As you can see though, what's nice about this is that we can now play a mono light deck with the Dogmatica stuff and take advantage of one of the stronger cards in the Eldritch variant, the Gozen match. So yeah. You can also see that I have swapped out the Unicorn for the Selene. I mostly had Unicorn in here because it's another form of removal that doesn't require me to get to access code. But since I'm playing an actual fuckload of spellcasters now, I think it's probably more worthwhile. Yeah. So moving on from these two decks, you've probably seen these before. I have deck profiles up on them. I'm going to talk more about this deck. So there are a few things I'm going to talk about. First of all is Malpha. Let me just pull up my notes here. So there was a few things that I was considering. First of all, with Malpha, you can now make the Magnifica without using your normal. You go Malpha, Special Ellis, overlay into a Caspitel, It requires 2 cards, by the way. So, Malpha Special Alice. If you don't have a monster in hand, you go for Mikalace to search packs, and if you have a monster, you go for Caspatel to search a monster. You can then packs to special out the Stella by attaching the Ellis from the Mikalace. And so once you have packs, you can then special the Stella, and then you can special summon that monster from hand. So yeah, that means that you can make the Magnifica without using your normal, which is why I'm playing the Dogmatica, a small little package. No Maximus, obviously, just not really enough room in the extra deck. You could maybe cut like an Osophiel and a Mikalace, and then like maybe like the Judgments in the main deck for a Winda package, but like there's no point with Malpha really, in my opinion. Yeah. The other thing is that it's hard to get Malpha on the board and kind of have her stick there. Because, like, she's only really going to stick on the board if she gets interrupted, which is good, right? It means you don't have to worry about, like, the hand traps and stuff. But, yeah. So, like, Malpha is good, but you don't want to trigger her second effect about how if a card is moved out of either graveyard. So, yeah. The second thing is that Malpha obviously just annihilates these secondary engines, right? There's no way you're playing like an Eldritch build, an Invoke build with Malpha. She just kind of makes it invalid. So there's the reason that, yeah. The other thing, I just forgot it, sorry. Yeah. Malpha also means, that's what it is. Malpha also means that you can cut down on these shitty Exosisters. Like, I'm playing 2 Sophia. One is a search target off of Caspatel if I don't have a monster and I drew packs. And then the other one is obviously for Vadis interactions, you know. But now I don't have to play 3 Sophia because my monster count is so high with Malpha. Which means that I don't have to play any of these dog shit bricks. And, like, you'll still probably brick on these two. But, like, it's better than nothing. Yeah. You still lose to hand traps a lot, like an Ash on Malpha really hurts, but like just kind of leaving her sitting on the board and being like, yeah, I'll Exi summon, you know, and you can't move a card out of the graveyard is still very good. To that respect, we're playing a Call by the Grave. It's good against hand traps and it triggers Malpha. All I need to say. You can also trigger her by using the Mikalace to banish something out of the graveyard. Or, yeah, no, you can't. You could, you know, Magnifica into Mikalace as well. That's about it, though. You could also use Latonya if you wanted to, you know, banish a card out of the graveyard. So, next we've got to talk about, you know, I'll talk about it now. Latonya. So, I was thinking about this card as, like, a replacement for Armament, but, like, holy fuck, this card is cracked. I'll get into it a little more in the test hands, but there's no once per turns anywhere on Magnifica, and Latonya allows you to make another one if you can end on Vadis Latonya, which, like, if you do, you just win the game. It's insanely good. I haven't had many test games. I've played, like, one in a custom card, but, like, it was against just a rando, so I haven't had much time to actually test it, and, like, I'll probably have to wait until these cards officially come out so I can play them in the OCG version of Dueling Book. I don't have any of the, like, the Project Ignis downloaded. I might have to download that, just so that I can play with these cards, because I think they're going to be out soon, hopefully. Yeah. Yeah. We still lose to a single hand trap a lot of times, but Malpha just allows us to play through, which is really nice. Also, the restrictions on Latonya are very harsh, so please keep that in mind, you know. That being said, it is an activate, so like if somebody does judgment it, you can just activate it again. But if you have like a Zeus or like any of these on the board, you wouldn't have a Titan on the board. But if you have like any of these 4 on the board, you can't. Yeah. So overall, just going over the quick ratios: 2 Vadis, 2 Latonya. You want to draw either of these because like there's a lot of the times that you can't search Vadis. And Vadis is definitely the best card in the deck still. Besides, Malpha is a very... I'd argue that she is almost better than Vadis, and probably is. But, like, Vadis, Pax, still incredibly cracked cards. Yeah. you'll notice that we're playing 3 Ellis, obviously a Malpha target and a Vadis target. 1 Irene for the Vadis and 2 Sophia. 1 to search off the Casperdale, like I said earlier. 3 packs, because this allows you to make the Magnifica without using your normal. And then 2 Vadis, 2 Latonya, right? It is a banish. It is a targeting banish. And then an Exes summon or a non-targeting banish. It's actually just insane. Like, the more I think about this card, the more it gets better to me. Obviously it requires you to have Z summoned, and like, it's like Vadis, you don't want to have banished, but like, it's definitely very good. I need to experiment more with it to see if it's like really like as good as I think it is, but like, it is. If I had to rank the cards right now, it'd be like Malpha Vadis tied for first, Pax like a close second, and then like Ellis, Stella, Sophia, and then Irene. Like, Armand is probably like right above Sophia, but like these 1, 2, like these 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards are far and away better than most of these others. So like, you want to focus your deck around making Malpha, Pax, Vadis, Latonya, 100%. You've got 3 Dogmatica Ecclesia the Virtuous. This is your normal summon once you've done your Magnifica combo. And since you can't special, you can normal search Fleur-de-Lis, and then, that's another negate. No punishment. The reason that I'm not playing punishment is because this is dog awful. You should not play punishment in this deck. It will bone you so much. Like in most other decks, it doesn't care about not special summoning for the extra deck, like for a turn or 2, but if you use it on your opponent's turn, it stops you from special summoning on that turn and the turn after, which is like, you want to be special summoning on your opponent's turn from the extra deck and your turn. You are just scythe blocking yourself. It's not worth it. Tune into your servant for like if you don't draw, it's just like it's just another copy of Ecclesia basically. It's also a good Ash target, so if your opponent is like, if you think your opponent has Ash, you can drop this and try to bait it out, or like a Bell or something, yeah. Cult by the Grave, Solemn Judgment goes in, just insane good going first. If you know you're going second, you can swap them out for these cards right here, in the control matchup. 3, 6 going second cards. You could probably swap out the Judgments for Nibs, but like, I might actually. Work in progress, obviously. I might swap out Judgment for Nib here. It's probably worth it, and like, I don't know if Judgment's gonna come up that often. Well, I'll think about it. It definitely needs more testing. Infib, Ash, and a Harpy's Feather Duster for Mystic Mind. Shenanigans. Yeah. Anything else that I want to talk about in the main deck? Oh yeah. Avarice might be a consideration with how fast you're gonna want to go through a lot of these like monsters. Like if you run out of Ellis, Malpha is like no longer a great card, but it's not required to special summon, or it is required actually to special summon. So yeah, it's required to special summon. So you gotta think about that as well. Maybe like 1 Avarice. I don't really know though. Desires maybe a consideration, but since it's 1, it's like whatever, Anyways, extra deck 2 Magnifica. You're gonna use this card. Like if this card comes up for 3 times, you shouldn't need it. You want to just use this card twice and end the game on like the 3rd or the 4th turn. This deck is a mid-range deck, and that's where your mid-range is. 3 Mikules. Just so incredibly cracked. You're gonna want to be summoning this thing like as many times as possible. You could probably cut the 3rd one, honestly. That's like my number 1 cut slot. Maybe like a Performate Trapeze Magician is what I was thinking. Maybe. I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where I'd have to experiment with it. Maybe like a Utopia double package, cutting like a Mikolas and like a Osophiel, but I don't really want to include another brick in the deck. 2 Caspatel, you're going to be using one on the first turn for searching either the Malpha or whatever monster you need for your combo piece, and then the second one is for follow-up. 2 Osophiel, obviously going to just lock out the graveyard. Joe Green for a negate. Zeus, because Zeus is cracked. Selene, access code Lina. Obviously you can't access code under Grozen match, but you know, like if you need to, you could be like, well, Lina. Like if you have like an Ecclesia and like a Fleur-de-Lis on field, you can go like Lina, link those two, and then Lina steal like a Veiler. Veiler makes Selene. Selene special summon back like an Ellis or like a Malpha. Yeah, and then you know you can play from there. It's a without going into access code basically, right? Like access code isn't necessary for this deck. Don't think it's necessary. You could probably play this deck entirely without access code. And then with Titanclad as a Nadir target, you can go Nadir, send Titanclad, add Ecclesia, normal Ecclesia, search Fleur-de-Lis, and then end phase, search another Ecclesia for follow-up. Now it is time to get into the test hands. So this first one is basically a single test hand, as far as I remember. So yeah, you go to special the Malpha, and then Malpha effect, grab an Ellis from deck. So then you'll notice that we don't have the packs in hand, so we're going to need to search it, because packs is how we're going to get the 3rd and the 4th monsters on board. So you're going to overlay into Mikolas, and then Mikolas will detach to add the packs. Packs to special summon the Stella, because the Ellis is in graveyard, and then you can Stella to special summon the Sophia. Sophia, draw a card, draw into another Sophia, just a brick, unfortunate. Then you can go Caspatel. Caspatel for follow-up to add the Malpha, which is follow-up. It is a once per turn, so not able to be used again. But then you can overlay these two into the Magnifica, and that's your standard combo. This next hand, a little bit better. We did open the Irene, which is a brick, but we have Malpha and Ellis, which means that we don't necessarily have to search the packs, but we can. So Malpha, special Ellis, overlay these two. We're going to search the packs anyways, because then we can packs to special summon the Irene. Irene put back the Ellis to draw a card, draw Novatus, which is really good, and then Malpha again. So, and then this right here, you can go normal the Ecclesia, add the Fleur-de-Lis, and then set Novatus pass. This hand, just a brick, unfortunately. And, that will happen, but sometimes, it just is what it is. So this hand, I decided to play it a bit differently, because, you can very easily go Malpha, just, pack, search Malpha, but then you can't get a packs again, which means it's going to be a bit harder to get the 3rd and 4th monsters on the board. So I'm like, I'll just go normal Sophia, packs into an Irene, and, see what I draw into. Draw into the Ellis, and then I'll put back the Ellis. And the reason that you can do this, right, is because then you can go Caspatel to search the Malpha to special back the Ellis and then you can go Mikolas to add the Vadis. And then Magnifica. So this hand is really good. We already have the packs and the Malpha, so there's nothing that we're really totally looking to search, but we can just go, grab a Sophia to get a draw, basically. So we're going to go Caspatel, grab Sophia to get a draw. Then packs to special Stella, Stella special Sophia. We have 3 Judgments and a Bodice. Then we're going to grab Latonya. And so this is the interaction that I was talking about between Exosister Bodice and Latonya, taking advantage of the fact that Exosister Magnifica doesn't have any once per turns. So, right, then you set 5. Oh, this is the wrong replay. Well, that explains it. But yeah, hopefully, so that's all. That was the wrong replay. That explains why I was like, where was my replay? So this is the specific replay that shows off Vadis plus Latonya. So here I opened 2 packs and Ellis. So I was like, I could like packs try to search. So then I was like, I could patch to search a Malpha, but there's no point in that because then I can't use the packs again. So just packs, grab a Sophia, and then special the Ellis, and then grab a Malpha. Drawing, obviously, another card all in the process. Also, I did have to use my normal, which is totally fine anyways, because I have Vadis Latonya, which I will explain, in a second. So here, use your Magnifica effect, which is 1 banish, and then overlay into Michelace. So if your Vadis resolves, right, you can go Vadis, boom, boom. So here you have the option of, you have Exi summoned this turn, right? So you can get 2 banishes with Latonya, or you can then say, hypothetically, right, if your opponent moves a card out of the graveyard, you can go into these 2, right? Caspatel, Osophiel. You could also go into Jibrine. You just don't want to go into Michelace. It is a once per turn. That being said, if you look at Magnifica, this is a soft once per turn, right? Which means that if you have a different copy of it, it's, viable. So, like, this Magnifica can't use its effect again, but a different Magnifica could. For the second effect, no once per turns. So then you can overlay into a second Magnifica to get another non-targeting banish, and then overlay back into, like, say, a Jibrine or an Osophiel, if you wanted to, in a later turn for a negate. Plus, you still have Armament, so you could hypothetically go Armament over Michelace, going into like an Osophiel or like a Jibrine to make a 4-material Zeus. Anyways, that's all I really have for you guys. This deck is cracked. Have a great day.